Hello, back for part 2. This is actually a new batch of cheese scones. Would you like to tell everyone why, Mum?
I thought I'd pressed record and I hadn't, so Joe rolled them out and cut them and put them in the oven, and nothing recorded.
So, I've made a new batch very quickly. Well done, me. Okay. But this time, it was kind of my fault. This time I have my rolling pin and my cutter. I can't blame entirely, Mum. If I'd had my things, she wouldn't have had to pause it at all. So, alright, we forgive you, Mum. Okay. So
if I knew what I was doing, I'd be awesome.
So you need 2 baking trays, at least 2. Whether you do the bigger size or this size, you'll need 2. Baking parchment on. I have these very thin trays, but normal baking trays or deeper ones will be okay. It's just sometimes the temperature's a bit funny with the deep ones. They take a bit longer to cook. If the heat has to go through further, I suppose is the technical reason. I'm not really sure. Okay, so you've got your ball of dough of scones. We're going to use, I'll put a bit of flour on there as I did. We're going to roll the top, give it a little spin, roll it again. A bit sticky in the middle.
Need a bit of flour on top of that.
Yes, it wasn't sticky in the middle last time. Although actually I think it was a bit crumbly last time, so that's better. Okay, I usually roll it out. I test it against whatever cutter I'm using for the size. So it's still a little bit thick maybe. I usually go where that first ridge is, roughly half or just under. So it does rise quite well. So it doesn't matter too much. It's down to your own preference. Some people like really tall ones and massive, but that seems about right to me.
It's about 1/2 or 3/4 of an inch, something like that.
Something like that. So you take your cutter, you push it down and give it a wiggle. You put them on. Look, you can see I've already used this baking tray.
Sorry.
It's okay. I'm only joking. At least we have lots and lots of cheese scones to eat.
Oh, we
can't complain
have,
about
yes.
that. I put them on the tray, spread them out fairly well. When I do the bigger size, I usually get a batch of about 11 or 12 or 11 and a bit. This one, with the one that I just did, because I hadn't remembered last time, but I just counted them. I got 17 plus a little bit that, as Mum calls them, chef's perks.
Yes.
Which we just split. It was very nice and warm.
Very delicious.
So you just keep going, try and go as close to the bits as possible so you don't waste things. You don't have to work it too many times then. Whoops, got stuck. I have to come out the top. So just keep going until, oops, used all the bits. You shouldn't have to pull it with your fingers. It should just shake out, providing it's dry enough. Some people do, and I've seen them do, they put their cutter in the flour, give it a twist in the flour. I've seen them do that if they're worried that their mixture's a bit sticky. My one's not too bad, luckily. But sometimes, because you can do it if your mixture's still a bit sticky and you don't want to make a whole new batch, but you might just need to put your cutter in the flour. Hello, there we go.
Didn't want to come out at that time.
Can I do it one more? Yeah, just. This tray's a bit smaller, so I do mine differently. Edges. You need a bit of a gap because they do rise quite nicely. And again, I say if you've got a bigger size, then they'll spread a bit more. If they're more runny, then they'll spread a lot more than these. But you know, pretty good texture. Actually, I'm quite pleased with this second batch of dough.
Yeah.
Although I was happy with the first one too.
Yes.
But I always worry that the second one won't be as good, but it's fine. So bring it all back together and roll it again. I didn't bring that back together wonderfully, but most of the time you just roll it and it will push itself back together anyway. That's the handy thing of dough. On that side. And then we're going to do it again. So cut it out again. Again, as many as you you can get, as close together as possible without cutting bits off. Oops. It came out so fast I dropped it. I should hopefully get one more proper one and then an extra bit. I'm not sure how many I've got now.
16.
Oh, well, that should be about right then.
So you'll have about 17.
17 and a bit is what I got last time. So
It's a good job they freeze.
yes, we have lots of scones. I've got quite a few in the freezer already from previous batch.
Yes.
And the other ones are smelling delicious and cooling right now.
Mm-hmm.
And there. Actually, a slightly bigger bit than I had last time, but I don't think it's quite enough to do a full scone. So what I'm going to do is just squish it down a bit. And I'm going to add it to the edge over there. Move those over a bit. It's roughly the same size, but that'll be delicious later, won't it, Mum?
Oh, definitely, yes.
Okay,
Yes.
I'm going to move those out of my way. And then, oh, let's bring these closer to me. And we're going to do a milk wash over the top. Now, some people use egg to wash, and they do things like a lot of the stuff they prefer to use egg, but I find that with egg, it cooks and browns too fast. So when you're looking at it and trying to decide if it's done, the top is so brown you think it's cooked, but actually it's not underneath. So with a milk wash, that doesn't tend to happen because it doesn't brown quite so fast. It doesn't go so dark, I suppose, is the thing, isn't it? Egg wash goes very dark.
Yes, it does.
Brown, so it's deceptive. It lies.
Yes.
Now, if you're going to put extra cheese on top, you have to do the milk first and then sprinkle the cheese on top afterwards, because the cheese will go brown by itself anyway. So you don't need it on top of the cheese. Plus it will help it to stick better to the scones anyway. But I say this time I won't be. Okay, so once you've milked them all, you put them in your oven, which I'll do in a minute. Ooh. You'll need 2 levels. And if you don't have to, I mean, you can cook them in 2 separate batches. It doesn't matter too much. I maybe wouldn't put the milk on top until you're ready to put them in the oven. But you can, it won't hurt them to be left out. I'm going to put them in the oven. Are you ready for a very specific time? For 17 minutes. Okay, 17, very specific. And actually, the bottom ones are usually done in that time. The top ones have an extra 3 or 4 minutes. But the way to tell when they're done is to pick one in from the middle and lift up, turn it over, and look for that lovely golden colour on the bottom. Okay, because the top you can't always tell, because some of them were quite pale on the top, but they were definitely done on the bottom, and that means that they are cooked through. So that's what you need to look for. So hopefully when you're done, they'll look something like that.
Delicious.
And taste as good as they look.
Oh, and smell so lovely.
I'm looking forward to these. So I'm going to put these in the oven in a moment. So yes, enjoy making cheese scones. I hope you've had fun learning our family recipe. Shh, secret. And I'd like to see how you get on if you manage to make some. Look forward to tasting maybe.
Yes.
Okay. Bye bye everybody.
Bye bye.